شلام لخ مريم مليف طيبوثة نارا عماخ مريخات المشي وموريخ بيت خرسريشو ناط مريم يلدت آلها صلح لابين حطاهي هاشا وشاق الموثن آمين.
I am a simple Belgian priest. I am a Norbertine father from the Norbertine Abbey, a Flemish abbey in Belgium, in Postel, Mol. And our order was founded by Saint Norbert of Xanten, Germany. That's almost 900 years ago. And we have missions. We have a mission in Africa, in Syria, the former Belgian Congo. But I was never sent there except to preach retreats, and I enjoyed it very well. But they asked me to teach moral theology, and I did so for almost 20 years for students who want to become priests in Holland and in Belgium. But I was interesting, and I enjoyed my life and in the abbey, but I was very interested in the renewal of the Christian life, the renewal of monastic life, and so on. And so I became the head of the Catholic charismatic renewal in our country, and I founded also a community. New community for families, men, women, for a certain time. And I was very interested in a communal movement. So I met that movement, worldwide movement toward Jerusalem Council II. This movement of prayer, movement of reconciliation, to go back to the first church. In that movement once I met Mother Agnes Mariam, and that was the beginning. I was touched by her. She founded here this monastery, and she founded also the unity of Antioch in 2000. And I met her, and she was so full of fire and faith, and I said, well, why should you not come to us? And she came for several years in Belgium and in Holland, and she gave talks and conferences, and it was very, very, very good. But after several years she said, well, I came already many times to you, why do you not come to me and visit our monastery? Well, and I had to wait a little bit, and then I had the occasion in 2010. So I came here, and that was first of all, of course, as a simple tourist. Well, the media are telling that it started with a peacefully protest movement. That is a big lie. We saw with our own eyes how it started in our village here, and we heard from our friends and others it was the same all over the country. The parish priest in Qara invited us, and here's the parish priest, and we enjoyed to stay with him, to go through the village and to visit people, to visit families where people were sick, and we prayed for them. But we were invited also with him in Muslim families. And although there is a big difference between a Christian family, of course, and a Muslim family, nevertheless, the hospitality was completely the same. That was a big joy. Then, on a certain Friday evening, it was in the beginning of the war. We came and we passed the central mosque in the evening, Friday evening, and we saw there was a movement, 10, 15 guys from outside, they were not Syrians, making noise and speaking against the president, against Syria and so on. And they made pictures by themselves, pictures and videos. And afterward we went to the parish priest's house, and he told us that since a few weeks there are people coming from outside to make trouble. And they invite our young people to make pictures. And those pictures and videos are sent to Al Jazeera in Qatar. And Al Jazeera is sending those pictures all over the world to prove that all the country is in protest movement against the Syrian president and against the country. And that was a big lie from the beginning. And that is until now the official statement of the media. That is a very great difficult. They do not accept the truth. The truth was completely different. It was organized from outside, but we didn't know on that moment that it was so strong organized. We thought, oh, it will pass. When you have in a village some difficulties, you think, oh, they will take those people and it will pass, but it did not pass. There came more and more rebels, and more weapons, and more violence and attacks. And they attacked, or they killed a Christian man. They killed later on a Muslim man, to give the impression that it was internal civil war, but it was not at all a civil war. There never was a civil war. They always stood together to protest against the terrorism what came from outside. It were all political reasons, political agendas were introduced here. It became, of course, slowly more and more dangerous, and more we stood inside. We didn't give any occasion that one of us should be kidnapped. It was terrible, of course, for all the community. Thus we stood more and more inside. Even on November 2013, that was the most dangerous moment. That was the explosion of all the rebels who came also around us. You have to know that the village had 20,000, 25,000 inhabitants, 300 more or less Christians. But the village and the people was very good for us, and we were good for the people. They didn't want to harm anything, and we helped them. It was a very good relation. But in November 2013, there were in Qara 80,000 inhabitants. That means all the rebels, a lot of rebels from Damascus and from Aleppo were living there to prepare all kinds of attacks. Thus it was impossible to live there, and everybody knew at a certain moment that will give an explosion, and that explosion was in November. And then the army, just with a few hundreds of soldiers, what can a few hundred of soldiers, what they are doing against 10,000 and 10,000 rebels and terrorists with heavy weapons and good trained, all outside. Well, that was the attack, and we were in the middle, the army and the rebels. Of course, there's a lot of damage in the monastery, but to tell the end, we prayed, of course, together. We had also families, Muslim families who were staying with us, and the children prayed also with us. And we celebrated the Mass inside. And on a certain moment we thought that maybe it will be the last time. We celebrated the Mass and we gave the peace to each other. But fortunately we didn't have the time to make trouble, because there were children, there was a need to help, especially the people who were a little bit too weak. But anyway, it was a terrible time. It was a terrible time, and but the end was unbelievable. Just at the moment, as we thought this is the last moment, of course, but the man was coming in with a big smile, and he said, "All is over. It's over." And the name of that man, was Ruh Allah, the Spirit of God. A Muslim man. And what happened, nobody can explain it. It is the secret in the heart of God. But thank the Lord, and we, and also the people of the village, we stood, we are safe. Well, in the country it's very difficult to say, of course. In Aleppo, we know it is very, very, very difficult still. But it is, anyway, it is becoming better and better. Since the moment that the Russians took the decision to help on a military way, and in collaboration of the Syrian government, everything changed. It changed in favor. Of course, it is always more destruction, always more killing. That is, but they did a very, very good work. They took, Syrian army took again almost 400 cities and villages again. But now they are strong enough, and the Russians are so great that they give the honor now to the Syrian army to continue. They will help anyway. They are going away, they said, but they are, of course, they are going away. As Putin said, just on the moment that the peace talks started, they said we will take our people back for the big part, but they will help on several ways, and they help also the army, the modernizing and material the army, so that the army can continue now. And at this moment they are even on the door of Raqqa and Palmyra, and that is for the rebels, for the Daesh, for the ISIS, that is the center. There is a good hope that finally Syrian people and the Syrian army can restore peace and security. But in our region it is more safe. But we have to be honest, after 5 years of war, everybody is poor. The first year and maybe the second year, people who are living in welfare, and that was a good life here, they can live from what they had. But after 3, 4, 5 years, everybody is poor. Thus, every family, everybody needs help. But we get a lot of help also. And the people, the voluntary group who is living here and who is working from here for the people, they are doing marvelous work. They are looking especially for those people who are the most in need. Well, slowly it became better and better, safer and safer. People came back, they restored more or less their home. They can, after a certain time, the most of the families returned, because there were nothing else as fighters in their village. They could not live with fighters. They should destroy everything. But the special thing is, of course, that after 4 or 5 years war, every people is poor. The first year, a family, they had a very good life here. The first year they can survive, the second year also, but third and the fourth year, every people is poor and there's no work, everything is destroyed, the factories are destroyed. In Aleppo, you know, all the factories are destroyed by the Turkish army, and they took away all the machines. Here, we started an organization to help the people, and especially, of course, Mother Mariam, who made 3 centra. One center here, one in Damascus, and one in Tartus. Although we were able also to help 2 weeks ago with 8,000 packets to Aleppo, people in Aleppo, and also with an ambulance and mobile hospital. And they call that hospital. Very, very precious, because the rebels destroyed the most of the hospitals, and they killed a lot of the medical people. That is a very, very difficult point. So we could help many people, of course, thanks to the people who are helping us, the generosity of so many people, and also organizations who will work together with us. And our aim is to help people who are in need, in different Christians, or of course the special Christians. We are persecuted, but also others of other believers. The most of the people stood here and went to the places where the army has to control, because the government decided not to protect their oil centra, but to protect the people. So the people went to those places protected by the army. They want to stay here, but when there is no more possibility for the children to have a good education, to have a university or something, and there is no safety, they go. But there are the most of them are staying here, in hoping that once the terrorists will go away, and that we can rebuild this beautiful country again. Almost, it will be a very difficult task. Well, our mother, Agnes Mariam, started the MUSSALAHA, the movement of reconciliation, because there are 2 parts. Not only we have to avoid all brutalities and destructions and killing, but we have to have also in troubled times and in war times we need a movement of people who want from the beginning start again and start going the way of the reconciliation, as it was also in our time. In our time, we said after the World War II, there was so big violence of hate from one to another after the war. Therefore, that movement was started, MUSSALAHA, the reconciliation. And that's a very big movement. Now it is all over the country. And I will tell just one story. We heard, of course, from here, Homs, that a guy, the only son of a Muslim family, was a student in the University of Homs. On a certain day, he did not come back. And the parents understood, of course, that he was kidnapped. And they were very, very sad and very trist, and they were hoping that they could find him. They couldn't find him. After several weeks or maybe some months, they got a phone call. Do you like to see your son back? And they were happy, of course. They said, we will do everything to see our son back. And at the other side, the phone call said, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. And in fact, the next morning at 8 o'clock, a bell, and they opened the door, and they saw a car going very fast away with many noise start. And before them, a sack of plastic with the photo of their son cut in pieces. And the father said, on that moment, I would take a knife and cut and kill everybody around me. But he became calmer and stiller. And later on, in that city, in Homs, they started the movement. There's a very big movement of the reconciliation, MUSSALAHA, who started in Homs. And he was the man, a Muslim man, who stood up and he said, I will forgive the murderers of my son, because the reconciliation, that is the price we have to pay for our peace. That's a Muslim man. Well, and I would say God is doing marvelous things also in the hearts of so many Muslims, so many others. We understood, first of all, people need food and clothes and sometimes money for the sick, and we try to help as much as possible. But meanwhile, there's already a second movement. People want not only to live from the gifts they get, they want to work for their own family. And so we started a lot of factories. An old factory was finished and destroyed, is started again. A carpet factory, even with handicapped people. There are handicapped people who are helped with it and they work there. There is a machine, we have a machine to make candles, because there's a lot of times that there is no electricity and candles are very precious. We made a factory of candles. We can make 1,000 candles in our monastery a day. There's also a factory of making candles with hand, a little bit special for decoration, to make soap, all kinds of educations. There are courses for all the young people who were missing the formal formation and schools to restart, and it gives a good feeling. People are very happy, although they are poor, that they see some future for their own and for their family. It is now, at this moment in our region, it is a very safe place. And we are living together in peace. Almost every day there are people who are coming to our service, to our prayers, Muslim people, Muslim girls, Muslim guys who assist with our, and so often they are coming also to me and they ask for a blessing, and we give a blessing in Jesus' name. And sometimes they like also the cross, even that they say, I will have a picture of that cross, take a picture of me of that cross, and of course we try not to offend them too much, but we do not deny our faith in nothing, and they are happy. So we are living together. There's a spiritual need and there is a material need, and we try to do on the two levels as much as possible. Well, the first of all is recognize the truth The truth is not that there is a people in Syria who protested against the dictator or something. It is outside. All is outside. It is for political reasons that they want to destroy this place, who is the most important place in the Middle East on the point of view of strategic, and the oil and the gas they want to destroy the sovereignty, to recognize it, and do not stand on the side of the murderers, stand on the side of the innocent victims, do not continuing the story, the lies what are day after day said and spread all over the world, so that they can invite people and always say, oh, we have to fight, we have to come with material, with military intervention to destroy that government and so on. No, do what the Russians did. They did it on a marvelous way, and they can now go back with a little part, but they prepared, they really destroyed here the Daesh for a great part and all the terrorist groups, and we hope that the army and the people, together with the people, can take away and all those terrorists and all those movements and who are coming from outside to destroy. That's the first one. Just stay on the side of the innocent victims. Everything will be resolved when people, the countries outside do not send anymore the terrorists, and when the countries do not come here against the legal government. This is a sovereign people. Nobody has the right to come from outside and to say how the future of this people has to be. It is the people itself that she will make their own government. They will make their own future. Let they do so if you are a real Democrat. But on the second time, the second important point is, of course, be by yourself a good Christian. Here in the East, on a certain moment we can say there's a genocide. They try to kill the Christian people because the Christians are the most important element for peace in the country, and they don't want peace, they want that it is destroyed. They are the contributors, the most important contributors of the peace of the society and harmony. And they are the first inhabitants of this country. And if they can kill the roots, let's say, of Christianity, the Christians here in the Middle East, then they can kill the tree. Then the tree will die of itself, tree also in the West and outside. There's a big danger. And they try to be convinced by yourself that the Christianity, the Christian faith, is the most important, the most precious gift of God for this world, and try to help these Christian people here, and so that they can live on their own way, and that they can be the evangelizers of this Middle East, of the Middle East, instead of to be kicked out and to, they do not need to be refugees. That is, in this country there never were refugees. On the contrary, the Syrian country took hundreds and 100,000 millions of refugees from other countries, and they paid them and they let them live as their own people from Iraq. And that is a false construction that we have to help the refugees. They do not need to be a refugee. Let the people live here in their own country and support the Christians, and say to your politicians, we do not need to go to attack with military power that country that is already for a big part destroyed. Let us say it this way, there is no hope. As Christians, we know there is no hope from the world. We have to do everything what is possible to live in peace, but we cannot put our hope on material things, on human power. We have our hope on Jesus, on the Lord. We pray that He may come, Lord Jesus. And we know that, as Jesus said, when you see all those things, as He said in his discourse about the end of the world, when you see all those calamities and wars, and lift your head ahead and know that your salvation is near. But after that, He will be the Lord. He will give us a new world and a new heaven and a new life, a resurrection, because He is risen. And that is our prayer. Let us be in solidarity with the Christians, especially the Christians here in the Middle East, knowing that it is also for us. It is absolutely necessity that they can stay here and that we can pray together and that we can hope that once the Lord will give us a new world, and meanwhile we are trying to live in as much as love for each other as possible. God bless you, all of you.